On the night of March 4th, 2022, a woman in Kamas, Utah called 911. She said her husband was not breathing. Paramedics arrived and found Kouri Richins dead in his bed. He was 49 years old, the father of 3 young boys. His wife Kouri told the world he died from an accidental overdose. She grieved publicly, she mourned loudly, and then she did something that made this case unlike anything investigators had ever seen. She wrote a children's book, a book called Are You With Me?, about a father with angel wings watching over his little boy. She promoted it on social media. She sold copies at local events. She used her dead husband's memory to build a brand. But behind the grief, behind the book, behind the tears, investigators were building a case that would reveal one of the most calculated murders in modern true crime history. This is the story of the grief author. Kouri Richins was a successful businessman in Kamas, Utah, a small mountain town about 45 minutes east of Salt Lake City. He ran a construction company and was known in the community as a devoted father to his 3 young sons. His wife Kouri was a real estate agent. From the outside, they looked like any other well-off family in a small Utah town. But inside the marriage, things were falling apart. Kouri had recently discovered that Kouri had racked up over $1.8 million in real estate debt. She had been making risky investments without telling him. The couple fought constantly about money. Kouri had started talking to friends about getting a divorce. On the night of March 4th, 2022, Kouri made Kouri a Moscow Mule cocktail at home. According to the prosecution, she slipped fentanyl into his drink. Not just a little, 5 times the lethal dose. Kouri drank it. He went to bed, and he never woke up. When paramedics arrived, Kouri was frantic. She told them Kouri had a history of recreational drug use. She said it must have been an accidental overdose. At first, that is exactly what everyone believed. What Kouri Richins did next is what makes this case so disturbing. Instead of laying low, she leaned into her role as the grieving widow. She went on local media. She told her story. She talked about how her boys were struggling to understand why Daddy was not coming home. And then, in early 2023, she self-published a children's book. It was called Are You With Me? The cover showed a little boy looking up at the sky, where his father appeared as an angel with wings, watching over him. The dedication read, "To my boys and their daddy who watches over them." Kouri promoted the book on social media. She did readings at local bookstores. She presented herself as a mother trying to help other children cope with the loss of a parent. She used Kouri's death to build a public persona. She collected sympathy from an entire community. What nobody knew at the time was that Kouri had also opened nearly $2 million in life insurance policies on Kouri. Policies she had taken out without his knowledge. She was collecting insurance money while selling a book about how much she missed him. The book was published in March 2023. Exactly 1 month later, Kouri Richins was arrested for murder. The investigation into Kouri Richins' death did not start as a murder case. It started as a routine death investigation. But 2 things caught investigators' attention early on. First, the toxicology report showed an extraordinarily high level of fentanyl in Kouri's system, 5 times the lethal dose. That is not what an accidental overdose looks like. People who accidentally overdose typically have 1 to 2 times the lethal amount. 5 times suggests someone wanted to make absolutely sure. Second, investigators discovered something that Kouri himself had tried to warn people about. Weeks before his death, on Valentine's Day 2022, Kouri had made Kouri a sandwich. After eating it, Kouri became violently ill. He texted a close friend saying, quote, "I think my wife tried to poison me," end quote. He sent another message saying, quote, "I felt like I was going to die," end quote. Those text messages became critical evidence. Kouri had suspected what was happening to him. He told someone. And then, less than 3 weeks later, he was dead. Investigators also discovered that Kouri had been having an affair with a man named Robert Josh Grossman. The affair, the debt, the insurance policies, the prior poisoning attempt. The picture was becoming very clear. As investigators dug deeper, the evidence against Kouri Richins became overwhelming. Her own housekeeper, a woman named Carmen Lauber, became a key witness. Lauber testified that Kouri asked her to obtain fentanyl. According to Lauber, Kouri told her she needed it for personal use. Lauber said she purchased the fentanyl and gave it to Kouri. That testimony placed the murder weapon directly in Kouri's hands. Then there was the insurance. Investigators found that Kouri had opened multiple life insurance policies on Eric, totaling nearly $2 million. Eric did not know about most of them. Some of the signature documents appeared to have been forged. The prosecution added insurance fraud and forgery to the charges. Kouri's phone records showed extensive communication with her affair partner, Robert Grossman, in the weeks leading up to Eric's death. Her financial records revealed the full extent of her $1.8 million debt hole from failed real estate deals. The prosecution's theory was clear. Kouri was drowning in debt. She needed money. Eric was worth more dead than alive. She tried to poison him once on Valentine's Day and failed. She succeeded 3 weeks later with the Moscow Mule. Then she cashed the insurance policies and wrote a book about grief to cover her tracks. The trial of Kouri Richins began on February 23, 2026, and it has become one of the most watched criminal cases of the year. Court TV is broadcasting it live. True crime channels are covering every day. The courtroom in Summit County, Utah is packed. Kouri has pleaded not guilty to all charges. Aggravated murder, attempted murder for the Valentine's Day sandwich, insurance fraud, forgery. Her defense argues that Eric's death was indeed an accidental overdose, and that the prosecution's case is built on circumstantial evidence and unreliable witnesses. But the prosecution has been systematic and devastating. They presented the text messages where Eric said his wife was poisoning him. They presented the toxicology showing 5 times the lethal dose. They presented the housekeeper's testimony about purchasing fentanyl. They presented the forged insurance documents. They presented the financial records showing Kouri's desperate debt situation. As of right now, in mid-March 2026, the lead investigator is on the witness stand. The trial is expected to continue through March 27th. The 3 young Richins boys have lost their father. Their mother may spend the rest of her life in prison. And on a shelf somewhere sits a children's book about a daddy with angel wings, written by the woman accused of putting him in the ground. The Kouri Richins trial continues through March 27th. We will be following this case closely and bringing you updates as they happen. If this story stayed with you, subscribe to Cold Trail and hit the notification bell so you never miss a case. Share this video with